This is a short video introduction into how to use the ePLOD Android app. I'm going to take you through all the steps required to fill out a shift and to send it off into the cloud for further processing. The first thing that you'll notice when you start a new shift is the basic information: your date, shift, rig, and the type of drilling. In this case, it defaults to today's date, and we're going to do a day shift. You can actually change it to night shift if you want, but we're going to do it with day shift. Choose your rig number. We're going to do rig 3 today, and you can actually put your site. Now, your site is your area in which you're drilling. For our purposes, we're just going to call it site 1. The type of drilling is important. We can actually populate these with different types of drilling, but for today's demonstration, we're going to use diamond. The next section is the operator section. Here you have a different class of operators, for example driller, and we enter a name. There's already a name there in our autocomplete, and we put the number of hours as 12. Generally you also have offsiders, so we'll put an offsider in, and we're going to put coloured. He's my boss, and that's also 12 hours. And you can put in supervisors, you can put in trainees, drivers, sparemen, or any other type of operator. So moving on to the next section is probably the most important part of any ePLOD shift, is the drilling details, or your hole details. In this orange section, you'll notice that we've got a hole, we've got size, angle, bit, your from and to depths, a total, and the number of hours you spent drilling on that hole. So if I go back, scroll this way, so I'm going to put a hole 1, 2, 3. Okay, our size, we've got different sizes here. We're going to choose N, and the angle we're going to say is -60. We can put a bit number in, we'll call it 456 bit number. From, let's say it's a new hole, we start from a depth of 0 to a depth of 15. As we scroll across, the last thing that we have to do is the drill hours. So let's say we spent, let's say 6 hours drilling 15 meters. Okay, and you'll notice that we have a summary: total drilled 15 meters, total drill hours 6 meters, 6 hours. You can carry on and do as many holes as you like, and as you put in more holes, the number of rows that you can will automatically pop up for you to enter your hole and drilling information. So drilling details is just one part of it. The next part is your tasks or activities. For example, a very common one would be traveling to rig. We'd put travel to rig 0.5. Okay, we may spend some time doing some pre-start checks, so we put 0.5 in there. You'll also notice at the top there's a shift hours allocated. We've got 7 hours allocated. So there's the 2 tasks that we've got here adding up to 1 hour, and previously when we put in 6 hours for our drilling hours, so that equals 7. We have to make it up to 12. So we might have condition hole, we maybe spend 1 hour on that. Mixing mud, perhaps we spend another hour on that. And we've got 9 hours. So in this case, unfortunately, we've had a breakdown. So we have a list of tasks that we can scroll through, and we can look for whatever task that is applicable. So in our case, let's look for mechanical hours. So we've got breakdown. So we had a breakdown of 3 hours. Okay, we can put a little comment here. We can say broken winch. Okay, so we can see now that we've added our shifts total hours to 12. The next parts are to do with water carting. So if you have in your agreement with your client, if you charge for water carting, you can put one load there. Toolbox meetings and safety meetings, if you did attend any of those, you just tick that. Now for consumables, there's a list of standard consumables, common consumables that you use for your drilling. A very common one is CR650 and 1. So that's as soon as a tub has been opened, that would be classed as 1, so you charge as 1. Another one might be rod grease, 1. I'm going to carry on now. Materials left or damaged and whole. These could be things like rods. You might have a couple of rods that were stuck down there of size, say, HQ. The next section is surveys. So these are survey data that you get from your survey probes or from your gyros. So the hole that you did it on was 1, 2, 3. The depth, say we did it at depth 10. The dip, the azimuth, say it was 275, and the total mags, say 3.5. Now it's the equipment. The equipment is where we track total number of hours that the engine's been running. So in this case, rig 3, we put in the start odometer, which say for example is 3,500, and it was running for 6 hours, for example. And we've got hours there, 6. You might have, for example, a compressor on site, an extra compressor. You'd put a number in, and again you'd put the odometer in, say 6,000, and maybe you only used it for 1 hour. And there's your hours. Rods on site. This is a count of the rods, not down the hole, but on the surface. So it's a good way for your managers to keep an idea of how many rods you have on the surface and be able to supply the driller with extra rods if required. So we might have 36 left of HQ and PQ maybe 25 left, and so on. So the last bit is shift comments. Okay, so this is quite an important part. This is where the driller can actually write in information about the shift. For example, we had a breakdown, so we might say breakdown of winch and waiting for mechanic. And there you go. So we've now completed all of our shift information. So once you've entered all your information, and I'm just going to scroll through all the different data that we've got. The tasks, the drilling details, operators, shift information. And then I'm going to send to the cloud. This will give you a summary of the information that you've entered. It's one last check. Make sure everything's correct. Everything's good. You say all good. It'll say sending to the cloud, and it gives you a status, send to the cloud, your job is done. Thanks. And that's it. So for each shift, a driller can enter in all this information, clicks the button at the end, sends it off, and it's ready for the project manager to view and to check and to sign. Thank you.